Good afternoon. So, after riding the BMW at Long Eaton, I then took a ride over to CMC at Clay Cross, or Chesterfield, whichever you want to call it, where they had an event on which was to test ride the MT-07s and the MT-09s by Yamaha. This lad on my right here is on the MT-09, I'm on the MT-07. And I really love the colour of those forks. It's just really nice to see a bit more colour on a machine like that. It's quite a naked style. I hope it catches on and they start using it on other bikes and other manufacturers are using it as well. But back to the MT-07. You see I've gotten on it by now. Very stripped down on the front. It was a bit of a rush getting on the bike, so I didn't really have time for a walk around. But one thing I worry about on the front is how well it's going to do with weather, because it seems so exposed. This dash that you can see here, I don't know if you get a bit of bad weather, it's going to start to deteriorate very quickly. The dash itself, it's got a digital rev counter on it and a gear indicator, which is very handy little thing to have. One of the first things I felt when I sat on the bike was that it's very slim. I've not got very long legs, and even though it looks a tall bike and the seat height does seem quite high, but it's so slim that my feet were still flat, and it felt so light, even just stood still. Anyway, let's get on the move. Even just from setting off from the parking space to this little junction here, the bike felt very nimble and light. My hands aren't too very far apart like they were on the BMW I rode earlier on in the day. They were also a lot lower down, but closer to me, and it just felt way more comfortable than what I'd had earlier on that day. Throttle is very responsive, gear changes are nice, clutch is smooth, no horrible like dragging on the gearbox or anything. I understand that it's a new bike again, so everything's going to work how it should do. It does have very short bar ends though. It's only a personal preference that I like to rest probably the width of my little finger on the bar end itself, just so it just makes me feel a bit more comfortable. So I'm just going to quickly rattle through the bad points on the bike, because there's not many at all. I mean, I really enjoyed riding this bike, so I guess they're kind of overcritical. I don't know. Okay, first point, the seat was a little bit hard. It's very much like an R6 seat section. It's it's very thin, quite hard. I'd have preferred something a bit more comfortable myself. Also, the dashboard itself, when you get moving, it's quite low down. Personally, I like to keep an eye on it. I was having to avert my eyes quite far away from the road, quite a long way down, so it wasn't just a glance with my eyes, I was physically having to move my head down, and I think that's not the safest thing. Maybe there's an adjustable part on the bike, I don't know. That's just something that I would like to have improved if I was to get one. And just to go back to the seat section, while there is a pillion seat there and footrest, it's very minimal. Judging by the size of the bike, I don't know if I'd like to take a pillion on it anyway. But even if they did, you're not going to be able to ride for, I don't know, an hour. You'd have to stop, because it's like a sports bike seat. That's the only probably downside I'd say on this bike. So you're going to get uncomfortable quite quick. And just a couple of last few things. It's got a very short wheelbase, which makes it amazing on the corners. But I don't know, if you're a bit more inexperienced and you're really, grabbing a lot of throttle, it could probably make it quite twitchy in the corners. And the only thing I'd say, the power on the bike, it's brilliant for this route that I took. It kind of loses steam once you get to like motorway speeds. So I don't know, you could outgrow it quite quickly and get, think, well, you've reached the limit very shortly after buying it. So now I'm going to begin with the good parts of the bike, and there was a lot. I loved riding this bike. It was a world away from the BMW that I rode earlier. It just felt so much nicer. So anyway, as I said earlier, the gear indicator on the dash is like a little bonus. It's just something nice to have. The weight, it's so light. it felt like a CBT bike, like a 125, which gave me a lot of confidence as soon as I got on it. I felt like I could throw it around really well. I wasn't going to get into trouble on a corner. Obviously paired with the brakes, it's very fun in the corners, and it's going to be amazing in city traffic, filtering. You're just going to weave in and out so fast. It's going to be a lot of fun. Engine and power wise, it's a parallel twin. I think they're saying about 77, 79 horsepower, but it's where it comes. The Bandit that I've got, it's a similar kind of output, but it's all around 7,000 RPM and over, whereas this, I was 4,000. It just absolutely takes off, and it surprised me the first time. I've had to tone down the video because there was a lot of swearing from me on that. And it's going to be very easily to pop the front wheel and just be a complete hooligan, because it's a hell of a bike. It's really surprised me. I know that the dealers have been pushing it a lot, and there's been a lot of advertising for it. But now I've ridden it, I can really see where the hype's coming from. It comes in quite a few different colour schemes. I think CMC have got their trademark Kenny Roberts rep, which seems to be on every machine they sell by Yamaha. My personal favourite is the race blue. The colour blue on there is very, very cool. I think if they were to put, I don't know, maybe I've seen some people customising it. They've put upside down forks on this bike, but if it was to have the blue fork tubes like that MT-09, it'd just look incredible. It really would. There's also this model which is called the Moto Cage. I don't know if the height's any different on it. I can't really tell by looking at it. I can see there's like a little screen above the headlight, hand guards, and it looks like a little bag on the where the pillion seat would be. Rad guard. It looks very, very cool. I think this one looks a little bit more grown up myself. Just to go back to what I was saying about customising, I think they're going to sell a lot of these Yamaha, and I think the customising market for these is going to grow, and you're going to see a lot of different things done to them, different colours, different stuff done to them, and I think there's going to be a lot of different types around. So the second-hand market in a few years is going to be brilliant on these. I had an amazing time riding this bike, which is why I'm going to give it my rating of 8.5 out of 10, because it is so much fun. You feel like there's a lot of power there. You can have a real lot of good time in the bends as well. And the cash price on this bike, brand new with ABS, which is the extra, I think it's 5,600. I think that is. Don't quote me on that, but that's for brand new bike. And I think that's so cheap. And maybe if you're not in the market for a new one, maybe get one that's a year old and use that extra 1,000 to kit it out, or get yourself some new kit yourself, like a helmet and some real nice leathers. And I just think it's absolutely brilliant value for money. And the fact that it's A2 restrictable as well is just going to make the market even bigger for this bike. A lot of teenagers are going to want this as well. People that live in the inner city. So you can, kind of go fast without going fast. I think they're going to sell so many of these, and I hope the other half gets one so we can share it. That's the end of the review on this bike. A much better experience than I had on the BMW. That's nothing against the dealer. They were very, very good at the dealers. At CMC, it was literally turn up and have a go. If you like it, you like it, whatever, no pressure. I just enjoyed the Yamaha MT-07 much, much better. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you like what I'm doing, give us a subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.